Hi everyone. I'm going to do another one of these relatively quicker mini case studies and analyses. There are a lot of subscription box companies out there. I'm guessing probably everyone is subscribed to at least one of them, or it certainly has been targeted by them. Whether it's Blue Apron or Birchbox or their clothing ones, there are just tons and tons of them out there. And one of the things I've noticed as I've started working with some of them, and just also being a consumer of a buyer of some of them, and then certainly just kind of poking around, is I think there's a low-hanging fruit that I think they're missing out on, and I think really could at least is worth a test, but certainly also can show off a little bit to people who are especially non-buyers or inactive buyers. Actually, that there's actually value and relevance for them. So, one of the things these guys, all the box companies tout, is convenience and customization, right? So it's delivered to your door, and it's personal. It's got a component of personalized. So, it's easier for me, and it's designed for me, right? And a lot of the ways that people are doing this is trying to gather information. And in the traditional or historical world, I would say, with things like customization and segmentation and all that kind of stuff, it was happening after the fact. So once you put your data in, and once you put your info in and you bought, then people will look to see how do you compare to other people, and then how do they kind of slice and dice and do something with you. Now on the front end, you see this a lot more that folks are using surveys, right? And so whether it's in health and fitness or apparel or real estate, or kind of frankly in a lot of places, and probably in any place, you can use surveys to get people to give you a little bit of info, right, to then help inform what they see, what they do, all those kinds of things. But first, one set of companies that aren't really doing much of this are the food subscription companies. So as an example, Blue Apron. So these folks actually use some sense of customization, but from my experience and everyone I've talked to, and again, all the research I've done, most of it happens after the fact. So when I go to Blue Apron, and I'm going to just do a couple on these and then move on to the bigger issue. But when you go through this, the only level you get some info about the service, and then you get a little bit of like what's on the menu. And so I can kind of look through, and that's a slick little slider here, and I can see that. But there is no ability before I get my first order to customize, or if it is, it's not made easy. And so, if someone from the company is watching, and by the way, I want to do a case study on Blue Apron because I love a lot of the stuff they're doing. But if it's not immediately in front of the person, and I have to click here and I have to wait till after I go in, that's a barrier to entry, right? And if there's a way to say, hey, we're going to get a little bit of your preferences before you get in, then I get a sense that it actually is being customized. Plated does a similar thing. Their level of customization, at least from the very front end, is do I want to do 2, 3, or 4 servings? Again, if after the first week, or if after I get in, then I can go do some customization, that's helpful, but I'm not knowing about it up front. And, to the extent we're testing and, this actually works better, then great. But I got to believe that giving people at least the information and letting them know that, hey, you will be able to say you're vegetarian, or you want gluten-free, or certain things, I don't eat certain kinds of meats, I have allergies, those kinds of things. Being told that I'm going to be able to customize that on the front end actually should be hugely beneficial. At the very least, make it front and center that you have that ability, which none of these folks do. HelloFresh has a similar thing. How many people, how many meals, and that's pretty much it, ready to go. And so, first off, the food subscription companies, I think, actually have an opportunity to certainly to message and then to potentially use that, use surveys. What a lot of folks are doing today, and you see this across a bunch of different categories. So this is Wink. They're using surveys, right? How do I like, this is a wine subscription company, and so they're asking me how I like my coffee, do I like salt, citrus, things like that. Bright Cellars is another wine subscription company. Again, getting information about my palate, because obviously how that's what I like in certain places probably is going to affect how I like my wine. The Tasting Room has another one, so they all have their version of it. That's one. The wine companies are doing this, certainly. The apparel companies. So the subscription box companies for clothes, you pay X dollars a month for a subscription. You get a bunch of clothes in the mail. Whatever you like, you keep, you pay for. Everything else you ship back. So similar type of thing. So Trunk Club, which was bought by Nordstrom a couple of years ago, so they use, what's my personal preference when it comes to when I go out? Do I want to be casual, bold, or dapper? Great. So I can at least help to inform that. Am I slick? Do I like a slim feel or classic? Stitch Fix probably has one of the most involved or lengthy, I should say, surveys. It is actually pretty long. I think they're testing certain things right now. So this is maybe they've cut it down, but this is just page 1. That it's on size. Then there's fit and cut, style, and price. And so they're gathering a ton of info about people, presumably then to help. And if you read anything in the media, they've got 70 data scientists, 3,000 stylists. So sounds like they're using their data pretty well to help inform. And given the growth they've had, I gotta believe this is working for them. Another apparel company, Wantable, again getting info here, and even Fabletics is doing it with this is the Kate Hudson brand or promoted brand, and then even for BarkBox, which is a dog subscription company, at least getting some info about the size of your dog when you're going to get toys or things like that, right? So this idea of using a survey to help inform the customization and personalization is happening all over the place, and I think it's a phenomenal thing. Ryan Levesque has written a book about his book Ask, which talks about how to use surveys, and it's obviously a big part of what he talks about. So a lot of them are using this today. Here's what's not happening, and really not the level that it could be, which is once you get this info. So you're going to have non-buyers and you're going to have inactive folks if you use this survey. And so then it's a question of how do you use that information, especially when people don't buy or they've bought and they don't and they're not signed up anymore. And so one of the suggestions I have is show me what I missed out on. So whatever percentage of people don't buy or go to inactive, here's an opportunity to use Facebook. And if your data is actually that good and your algorithm really is that good, and what I've put in there you actually feel like is really going to be relevant and exciting for me, then show me that. And so hit me with the retargeting. And this is really my suggestion, which is show me essentially what I would have gotten. And so in this Blue Apron ad, presumably if I had liked greens or whatever it was, and I get hit with this retargeting ad that shows me something that based on my survey answers, I would, based according to their algorithm, I'd like, throw that in front of me. Now, Blue Apron isn't doing the survey, but I'm just using this as an example. Stitch Fix, another one, if the style survey, if you're a woman and these are the things, if your preferences would have led you to like this, show this, or show, here's what your last 3 months of boxes would have been. And again, if your data and your algorithm is that good, then it's not just segmentation based on women in certain geos and ages, but it's actually personalized based on me. Or again, you got to look at all the terms and service and exactly how you use it. You can create big buckets and at least use that to help inform some of what's being presented to people in retargeting ads. TrueMaker is another one of these. Again, if my style is this, and if you want to show the contrast, show me this as a retargeting ad. And again, I'm not picking on Wink because this isn't their retargeting ad, but let's say as opposed to showing something that has all these different ones and they're going to find the right wine for me, well, show me the wine that you did find for me. And yeah, I may have seen that in the when I went to the site, and there may have been a bunch of different reasons why I didn't order, whether it was price or value, or I just got distracted. Hit me back up. And again, if I've gone through the process, I've given you some info, I've given you my email address, show that to me and put that not only in the Facebook feed, but in the emails. And again, that level of segmentation and customization absolutely is fine. All the media platforms have their own rules, and you got to make sure you're following them. But if I have given you my preferences, put that back in front of me, especially when I haven't bought. Show me what I'm missing out on. Show me the style, the food, the wine, whatever. There's the dog treats. And again, you can show me one, but you can also show me here are the last few that you would have gotten, or customers like me would have gotten, or what people are excited by. And whether you say it explicitly to say based on your survey answers, or just customers are looking at these things, that's, you test into that, right? But I just think this idea that how you use info to help inform, especially warm leads, and to reactivate people is something that folks are missing out on. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. I'm probably going to do a much deeper dive both into surveys and subscription box companies, and actually really into Blue Apron. There are a ton of things that they are doing really well. As a customer, there are things I like and there are things I don't like, but I really want to share some of those things with everyone. So if you have any questions, certainly here's my contact info. Feel free to reach out, and hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Take care. Thanks for watching.